Hey Dorf, thanks a lot for your time. So it's been a while we spoke. I'm not playing the game as you know from last time. But I've been following the topics on some of the chat rooms and so on. But I would like to kind of get a sense of what's going on in the game. How is it? Just want to hear from you.
All right, yeah. First, like I said earlier, you should come back, find Doc and Rampage. I think they're in 30. That's where you were at before. Nobody should quit the game just because of another player, but that's here and there. The game is where the game is right now. Rise owns all 31 basically. If you go over there and check every day, there's like another Rise wing showing up, and they don't even do people the favor of like from branches. They just name it all Rise of the Shadows. So it's real confusing when people do the IC spreadsheets. HH was convinced, tortured, or persuaded, I don't really know what, to go to 30 to own that region because Blitzkrieg and Sick got into a war about Sick adding a family wing, which I don't understand why Blitzkrieg thought they owned the region, because the region was given to them from Road Warriors when Road Warriors went to 28, but that's here and there. So Blitzkrieg is no longer fighting Rise. Kamiko's not even the general, really, so I think it's Lala, maybe Georgie. I don't know. I don't really look over there that much. They're 100% Rise. They might as well just name themselves the Blitzkrieg of the Shadows or something, because Rise players go in and out of there all the time, and they're fighting Sick, which, as proven by the STD Sicarius War that lasted for over a year that I poured it in 29 on, that's really not the smartest thing to do. Sick just doesn't lie down. They're Sicarius. Like, I got old para players with me. They're not big fans of them. They don't just lie down. They don't quit. Like, it's going to be bloody. There's a lot of people are going to get zeroed. 29, there's STD, me, AMOD. Loose left, they're gone. They disintegrated. They removed themselves or got removed from STD family. They ported to SLC and joined. Most of them joined them. Some of them joined HH. Some of them joined. I got a couple that joined me. Bunnies Olympus in 31. They quit the Rise family or got removed. I want to think they quit, but you never know. There was a war that started there, and then that alliance I think they just quit, moved on. I don't know where they all went. I have some of their players with me. Someone went to HH, someone went to Rise, some of them went to STD. 28's got Road Warriors and their big family, and then they have SLC, which is now no longer fighting Road Warriors. SLC and Road Warriors are fighting STD. STD is fighting SLC and Road Warriors. Legion is fighting Blitzkrieg and all the Rise family in 31. Sick is fighting Blitzkrieg in region, HH in region, and all of 31 too. Road Warriors is also fighting all of 31, and Blitzkrieg and HH in 30. I think I've got that all covered. For overall game things, it's getting kind of stale. They haven't figured out to update the mega cities. The mega cities, the only mega city worth anything is the trained troop boost, even though my alliance is determined to win the coin boost every weekend, and they love it. The cities are out of order. Like, the best city to get is a trained troop, but that's number 2 or 3. So you have to play this little game of shuffling back and forth, dropping in and out of the alliance, in and out of the alliance. Ember needs to rework that. You know what I mean? Like, number 1 should be the best prize, not number 3. So that's that for like the weekend events. Weekend events Saturday usually is the legendary tokens. They're getting it's kind of blatant what they're doing. Like, you'll see the new leader on a tile. It'd be called like a wild something, and then lo and behold, that weekend or the following weekend, that infected leader is on the event, usually the legendary gain power one, where you can get legendary tokens or a promo card, or it's the Sunday power event. So that's the events. The weekday events are the weekday events. I mean, they haven't changed since you quit. Like, legitimately, they're still the same.
From an events point of view, do you think they should look into bringing back some of these real useful to the mega cities, right? Last time, if you remember, the New York City, so you got to go and occupy the tiles and so on. I don't know if that kind of brings the gaming spirit back or even alliance spirit back. I don't know. To make that. And also, it shouldn't be the power event all the time, right? So, for example, if it's a war, it should be 24-hour war, and the point should be only on war and not to build troops. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Well, they created the they changed Advanced Warfare from the original way it was to this new way. Old Advanced Warfare was you had to kill things. New Advanced Warfare is you can build troops, and I'm willing to bet it's because people that have bubbled or perma-bubbled or living in a bubble or bought the 30-day bubble are like, oh, I can't place in this event even though I'm using my 200 mil account to steal res. So they made it, and they made it fair for them. I'm 100% in agreement with you on mega cities, but a caveat to that is the regions aren't like they were in 1 and 15, where it was old, dead regions where the wars had been waged for years and the active players were maybe 3 to 4 alliances, and the power disparity was huge. The regions are kind of balanced.
Yeah.
STD out is a lot more powerful than me, but I think they should look at what they did with commanders. Commanders, all their cities are, at one point in time, you were able to capture them. And Ember does own commanders, so that wouldn't be hard. It's not like they're stealing something from the south. All their cities were capturable at one point in time. You can put your city in the city. You had to put a march. So it made the game a little bit more interesting. Like, oh man, if I'm going to take this city and my march is out, I could get zeroed. So gameplay like that. Reworking the cities to get on the level of the leaders is the most important part. For one legendary leader, like a Dix, right? Just a Dix. And everybody usually gets a Dix. It's not like the freezers or the alchemists that Ember doesn't like to give out except to like the same people over and over again. One Nyx gives you, and I'm logging in the game because I don't want to give you the wrong numbers. One Nyx at 30-31 gives you a troop train limit of 100K, 104K. What's the point of, even if you're not going to place in the top 10 or you've got number 1 in the mega city, you know what I mean? What's the point of doing the headache of drop out, drop back in, get in here? Oh wait, they're pushing. Okay, push these people, do this, run death protection, do this. It's a headache. It serves no point. Whereas if they put it number 1 and they up the city's boost, because these boosts are built for 22 cities, not 25 cities.
Exactly. Yeah.
You up the boosts. It'll be more worthwhile to spend that money because it's a game, it's a cash game, it's a money game. Like, even at the end of the day, you can hit all the tiles you want, you can have all the ults you want. There are never enough speed ups, and eventually you're going to want to buy a leader. You're going to need to spend cash. So it's an idea, it's a thought.
I think from an events point of view, I also thought maybe using the mega city, and if you can challenge cross region teams, like for example, every week you can choose a time and then you can challenge another team. Maybe, it could be Rise or Road Warriors, and you get to fight for the tiles, and whoever wins can get some perks. It could be resources, or it could be advanced speed ups, and that would actually bring the alliance spirit back. So this could be on a completely different platform, right? So not on the same map. You get into the event, so they can create a map with a city, and people can port in, and then they have to send their troops to the tiles or something on those lines. So it also gives a sense of winning over the other alliance, right? You can go and challenge certain alliances. And a lot of these alliance games have started that, so you can challenge certain. Basically, you don't get your troops killed. It's an event where your troops dies, but once you come back to your city, it's still with you. But the whole point is you're having fun during the time, showing your power and so on. So I think they should innovate there a bit. And also on the power events, do you agree on the death protection and people healing and getting the power on and on and on? And that's not really fair for people who are really spending money?
No. I'd rather, I find I'm not gonna lie. I use death protection. I have death protection leaders that for when I hit with panzers, it's just what has been created through the game. You know what I mean? Death protection gives you a 1-for-1 ratio. Sometimes you get a 2-to-1 ratio when troops die. Yeah, your 2 million troops are going to die, but you can kill 6 to 7. It's on the player. No, I don't think death protection should be allowed for pure power gains or anything like that. I think that if it's a power gain, keyword power gain, it should be a gain of power. Like, we did one event, and I'm not going to lie, I put on 4 bill normal power. I wasn't even in the top 10, the top 20.
Wow.
I had to go switch to DP because it was a massive event. I know a couple STD players, Jonathan, the former general of STD, he packed on some ridiculous number. He was number 1 on the weekly power gain, and he was nowhere to be seen on the event because they're showing DP over and over and over and over again. And even if you've got crummy mill hospitals, or 1.4 mil hospitals, that's still a decent chunk change. So no, I think they need to just do a power game. Now I understand why Ember has switched to that event, and I get it. They switched to that event to bleed the res, because in their mind they're thinking that if they were doing events and everybody's getting leaders and everybody's doing this and they're shooting for leaders and they're doing that, they're going to burn up all the res that they have and all the res they produce and stuff like that. And because Ember's not silly, Ember knows people have farms. Ember knows people have more than one account. They're not dumb.
Yeah.
They don't want to admit it. They won't say, we know these accounts. They're not. It's a money game. They sell res now, so they're thinking is that. The problem with their res that they sell is that it's not, nobody needs coin. Nobody needs anything where $50 gets you 800 mil. Like you can't set the market price on something that's not, that you can get from dead cities, you can get from farm and tiles and stuff like that. I'd rather buy a pack for $100 that gets a decent amount that gets a leader and a decent amount of res, than spend $100 on res and not a larger amount of res that's in the pack. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I don't think DP. I think it should be pure power game.
Yep.
Pure, 100% power game.
We're talking about the useless things that we have. We spoke about this even in our previous interviews. The things that you don't use anymore that occupying even Ember's server space, for instance. Like troops, right? I don't know if people are still using their old troops, which is the regular troops. I don't know if they can give some option to upgrade it with the coins that you have. So at least you can get rid of the coins, and also you can upgrade your regular troops to your advanced troop. For example, if you have a meat shield of T1 and you want to change that to an advanced meat shield of T1, you can actually do that if they give an option. Would that be cool? I don't know.
That would be cool. I mean, I'm not a computer guy. I don't play one on TV either. The problem, like you touched on it, so I'll go into a little bit. It's actually a point later on down the road, but our accounts are huge. They're massive server space takers. Like it's like an Excel spreadsheet. I think of what our account looks like. It's like an Excel spreadsheet. More columns and rows with data in it. You have the bigger the account is, the bigger it takes up on your server, right?
Yep.
But Ember's has hamstrung the players in just general usability of the game. Yes, being able to upgrade your T1s to advanced T1s would be cool. I mean, I got 281 billion coin, and I don't know how many items of coin, okay? I got 2.3 billion DNA. It's useless. It's just sitting there. It collects dust. I got 25 million gold because there's nothing. I don't buy anything with gold except teleports because, again, they haven't adjusted their prices on stuff. Doing that would be nice. Like, I still have a meat shield, so I have a large amount. But you touched on it, so let's talk about it real quick, right? In just one, I'm going to read you off 3 leaders, right?
Yep.
I have 229 ankle biters. I'm never going to use them. I got over 300 biohazards. I think there's 1,000 somewhere. Let me find it. It's just a leader I've never, ever used. Tyrants. Nobody's used a tyrant since Region 1. I have over 500 of them. All these leaders take up space.
Yep.
Like, we're not going to use them. I have over 500 of the kernels, too. And tantrums are out of this world, and spooks and stuff like that, and sparkles. Nobody needs sparkles anymore. They give you 2 options. You can either slot it, kill it, slot it, kill it, slot it, kill it, slot it, kill it, or extract DNA, and nobody needs DNA anymore, really. That takes up time. That takes up a lot of time in the game. Like, the game is based on time and money. I'm not going to kill leaders like that when I can be doing other things. Nobody is. The advanced speed-ups have an animation in them. Why there's an animation in getting advanced speed-ups is beyond me, but it is the slowest, longest taking animation in the game. It's like, oh, I got a 4-day one-day. Cool. Some players have 20,000 one-days and have 1,000 packs to open like that. They've added time-consuming things in the game for no reason. Also, when you play the game and you hit one of them packs to open, you notice the game lags when you do it. Man, it's another animation that we don't need. Just put a slider bar on it. Call it a day. Give us the option to just execute all those useless leaders that we don't want, that we don't need, that we're never going to use. Give us the option to use, like, you can't use sliders on Um, we have raid loadouts and stuff like that we get. I want to say, oh man, I have over 10,000 raid supply kits and stuff like that combined. You know what I mean? Like with the loadouts and stuff. I'm never going to use all that stuff because the human leaders are capped at 30, 31.
Yep.
They're coming soon to 32, but they've been coming soon since Storm was 15 bill. Okay, like, and he's now 200 bill. Like, it's not happening. Like, admit it. They give us, I have 70,000 random teleports. Let me take those random teleports and upgrade them.
Yep.
Like maybe use gold, maybe use a 5 for 1 deal, maybe a 10 for 1 deal. I don't really care, but let me use it for something I could use.
Exactly.
We have players stacked with pages and pages and pages and pages of Alliance quests and daily quests because their heroes are 55. There's no point in doing them. They just sit there. They literally just sit there. They've got to come up with something for us to do, and it goes to even the speed ups, man. I have 119,000 15-minute speed ups. I've got 100,000 1 hours. You can't in the game, the way the game is now, due to the lag issues.
Yeah.
I can't just power hit 15-minute speed ups to build anything or heal anything. Because I'll get like 9 in and I'll get kicked out of the game. And I'm not wasting my time on that.
Yeah.
But they need to let us help them help us.
Agreed.
If we all shrink our size of our cities, we take up less memory. Mm-hmm. So therefore, that server space, which I swear Ember's making a new game about like matching cats or something again, it is free.
Yep.
But upgrading troops would be nice too.
Do you think, again, it's always my rant about the fairness in terms of defense and offense, right? I mean, early part of the game, it was actually very defensive heavy game. So if you had like slotted 2 Kurgans, like you're done deal, so nobody would kind of hit you. So that's kind of boring. And then they made the offense better, where even your defensive leaders were like nothing. And then always you see that either one offensive or defensive game on an upper hand. I don't know if this is actually killing the game because, for instance, if you have say 100 million troops, and if somebody can actually wipe that off with a mere 5 hits with 2 million each, that's not a fair game in my opinion. So if you have equally like 70-30 from 1:2, you make it to 1:1 or even slight advantage on a mere advantage on attack or mere advantage on defense, then you recycle your troops much faster rate than right now. So people won't be bubbling because they see that people who attack will also lose more, or people who get hit will also lose more. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
So the game is unbalanced. The game can never. I've been playing this game for a long time. The only time the game's ever been balanced is when there were no leaders. Mm-hmm. When it was literally, you didn't need to send your hero. You just sent multiple marches at a target, and it was just shenanigans the whole time, right?
Yeah.
That's changed. The problem that Ember has is us, mm-hmm. right? So Ember comes out with a leader, and they think, okay, this is a good defensive leader, right?
Yep.
And then we say, we show them by running an all-ranger hit, an all-piercer hit, and all something else, because we read, that's not really a good leader. Mm-hmm. The way to balance the game, right? Like, because I'm like, even though there's alliances in 29 who think I am the spawn of the devil and hate me more than anything else in this world, and the same thing in 31. The game is fun when there's interaction, when there's battle, when there's a struggle, when it's a game, right? Like when it's not just, Rise is here, they're going to hit my littles. Look, I went over there, I'm looking for people with bad leaders because I'm not going to be able to chew through 200 bill and power and Storm. You know what I mean? Like, there's no threat to players when they're above 40 bill. There isn't. So, in a lot of games I've played, and I've played some other games, and they have this feature. It's like rally, or like some call it rally, some call it something. I don't remember, warband or something like that is in the other one. I don't remember what the Vikings game called it. It's been years. Yep. But the ability was everybody in your alliance can send a march to one player, and that one player and his leaders will take that march and go and will send at another player. So you could get like a 40 million march. Now, I'm 68 bill. If I have 40 million advanced troops coming at me, right? That's an issue. So there'd have to be a defensive mechanism built in where like your alliance could reinforce you up to the cap of the rally or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But it would put the balance back into perspective where, oh look, I'm gonna use you for example. I'm gonna zero Lousy, right?
Yep.
I'm 10 bill. Oh no, they launched a rally on me. If you set it up so they can't port out of the rally because they made that change, people have to rethink. You have to actually strategize. You actually have to think. You have to work together. You can't just maul. You just can't do the maul and call it a day. If you port to 31 and you're not prepped and you're not ready, and they hit you with say even the march is just 30 million advance, right? That's still gonna sting a little bit. And if you set it up that troops in the rally cannot be ran for death protection, like they're either dying or living, then the game becomes more, the littles have a chance because nobody's going to waste troops or waste res zeroing a bill player at cap when if they got to do a rally, they could lose 6 million troops. You know what I mean? So that's my thought on that. That's the only way I've thought it long and hard. Like, how do you get the leaders and stuff like that? The problem with the leaders is they sell leaders now, but the non-spenders don't buy leaders like that. To place in an event, you literally have to have 10 to 20 billion each res. So the littles aren't going to be able to get the leaders, and if you're 2 months behind on leaders, you're going to get zero. It's just going to happen. So they've got to make it so it's team oriented, it's alliance oriented. That, oh man, you are not going to be able just to do that for free. It's going to actually cost that player something. And a lot of players, and I mean a lot of players, don't like to lose power. So they got to rethink that decision making right there.
And what other challenges do you think the game has right now? And what are the things that you would like to see as a change?
I've talked to some of the generals. I even talked to the Rise generals, Storm and Scott. I've talked to the Sakaris generals. Me and my majors talked. I talked to SLC generals, STD general, AMOD general. The biggest complaint, is the lag. Ember they don't do themselves the favors. Nobody cares about the weather. Nobody cares about the weather in the game. It doesn't do anything for the game. It doesn't inhibit your troops. It doesn't help your troops. It's just another server action we don't need. Number two, nobody cares about the extra animations they do. Like I said earlier, like I got to open up a 4-day advance and it lags. We don't care. Fix it. Just give us a slider bar. Sometimes basic functions are easier. Yeah. The number one complaint literally is they changed the way the ports worked, right? So before, if I launched the march at your city and you ported, my attack would hit you no matter what, right?
Yep.
It prevented big players, which they do it now in all the regions, prevented players that are medium-sized to smaller bills, like 2 or 3 bill, from farming farms and just sending it to their main account, which is bubble, because they could just port out of the attack. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And even for the bigs, you get a march sent at you, I can just sidestep it. Excuse me, not happening. Added feature right there caused players to learn a different tactic, which now creates more of a headache for the game. So the newest tactic that's used in all the regions is it's called the lag 1 troop, right? Mm-hmm. So you get 4 to 6 players sending multiple scouts and multiple 1 troops at 1 player, and that kicks them off the game. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, if you're that player that's kicked off the game, you can't teleport. Your shield is delayed. You can scout back and send marches. You can heal, but you can't do anything else. And if you try to use random port, you're going to get kicked. And if you try to port one spot to another, you're going to get kicked. It's happened to me. I got lagged out in another region. It wouldn't let me do anything, so I turned off notifications and logged out. I'm 68 bill. They're going to zero me. Good luck. It'd still be going on. But for 2 to 3 bill players,
it's a game over.
They're done. It's a game over because we're sending real marches with those 1 troops. So they need to make it back to where when you port, you get hit. Because if not, then all you're going to do is create more mismatches. And players are quitting now because of it. Because literally they get caught in a region. Yeah, they're at war. They get caught in a region. They get zeroed out, but they weren't on the game because they couldn't log in, because the login tree when you reconnect is horrible. And then when they get in, they hit the bubble, and the bubble doesn't go up, and it doesn't matter because Ember just doesn't care because it's just Ember. Like they're in La La Land, just going to make a new leader for Saturday, and everybody's going to buy it. So we're losing players that way. The next is, I've said it before, I'll say it again. One of the biggest issues causing lag is the auto center back on the city. It creates a massive headache. It literally does. Like if you send out 25 marches, then it's going to cause you to lag. Like it just does. You lag. The cities are big. Like the cities are, like they're big. Like we're big cities. They need to make, what is it, 5 years now, I think it's 5 years now I've been playing this game. Holy moly. It's over 5 years. The game's life cycle is well past what is expected of a phone game, and it's still going strong. The regions are full. The regions have players. Players would come back to the game, and that's what Ember doesn't understand. They're trying to make the next new game. The next new game doesn't happen. The easy addicts, as I call us, are the easy addicts. You're stuck. You get the cravings. You gotta play. Everybody that plays Empire Z, from Rise and their 40 wings to Road Warriors and their family in 28, the whole region encompassing, you get the itch to get back in the game. But the problem is the game isn't progressing. We've hit level 25 for years now. Research is maxed out for years. I even did the DNA research. I haven't researched a single thing in my city in over years. Mm-hmm. They need to understand, look, hey, we've got 50% of the population is fully researched. Hey, cool. Time to put new research in. Hey, they give us 1,000 liters every week. You get liters after another, but I'm still limited on the cold storage spot. Okay, thanks, dude. Cold storage is stupid. Get rid of it. Let me slot whatever liters I want. Let me put another one back in. Some players want like interchangeable humans, and I'm not really. I don't know about that. That's just Ember made a second city which costs more, so I'm not really a big fan of that. Another one a lot of people want is Ember lets us change names. I can change my name to anything I want in the game, from an emoji to a dot. Bob's your uncle, right?
Yeah.
Or Dorf and not Dorf are my two favorite ones. But what I do in a different region under a fake name can't be traced back to me. Like, there's no player accountability. So players will literally glitch their name and hit their allies. And there's no way to tell back. Whereas in other games, if you hit that player that hits you, you'll see where they're at. Like, you'll literally take you to the map where they're at. Or even if they're not there, like if they hit you and pulled away, you can just literally hit the button and go to them. But what Ember should do is they should make their name clickable. So if you glitch your name and port out of the region and run back to 30 or 31, right? And I hit the dot, because it's usually a dot that hits everything, hits the dot's name, it literally takes me to his current name and his current alliance. Okay, cool. This is actually this player in this alliance. That'll create animosity and wars, because when allies get caught farming each other, they end up fighting. Like, they just do. So it's things they need to work on in general. Like, I got it, new leaders. Everybody loves new leaders. But guess what? New leaders don't really fix the issue. The lag is the number one issue. Next is they shut region ports on the weekends. Like, really? The weekends are where people are off work. Like, I work Monday through Friday. Other people work Monday through Friday. Most people work Monday through Friday. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They don't want to region port into a hostile region on the workday because they're not on the game all the time. So they shut region ports down. They shut region ports down because people exploited a loophole and went region to region to region, collected legendary tokens, right? And they got mad about it. When all they had to do was put a system block in place where literally is if you're not in the region when the event starts, you can't place in the event and you can't max the event.
Agreed.
It's simple stuff. Those are all the big things, right? Those are the big ones for the big alliances. Now this is for the little alliances, right? Mm-hmm. Little alliances are always behind the power curve. They just happen to be. From the French in 29 to WBW, which I still don't even they're there, okay? To the littles in 31, to the littles in 30, to the littles in 28. They're always fighting the man. They're always, right?
Yeah.
The game doesn't allow the big alliances or the big players to help the little players, okay? If you're not going to let me convert my speed-ups, let me donate my speed-ups. Let me put them in an alliance fund. Let me put them in something that they can go in and they can take out of, right? The alliance store options are horrible. They're just plain up horrible and need to be updated. Let me help a little player out. Let me do something that'll benefit a small, like something like that. Me and a player talked about letting players trade legendary leaders because Ember's math, their random number generator on who gets what leader, is off. I've got players with 10 freezers. Wow. I've got over 11 humongos. I've got another player, Rhyme's got, I think, 14 bears. Another one of my players, Bilbo, he literally just gets a new one every time he opens it. Like, it's literally just a new, like, he'd never seen this leader before. Their random number generator is off, so they've got to come up with a way to make it fair for players to want to spend. Like, I'm not buying another legendary pack unless it's a leader that I want in there, because I'm going to get another humongo, or I'm going to get another alchemist, and because I've got to it. You know what I mean? Something I don't need.
Yeah.
They've got to make it so that their system reads and reacts to, oh man, this player's got 15 bears. Does it need another bear? Oh, you know what I mean? And shifts the percentages. But that takes an algorithm that I don't know if Ember's willing to put their time in. So maybe they can give it an option where, hey, buy the legendary leader you want for 200 legendary tokens. Like, hey, here you go. 100 legendary tokens, get a random one. Lord knows what you're going to get. 200 legendary tokens, buy a freezer, alchemist, Nyx, a humongo. 350 legendary tokens, buy you a sky. 1,000 legendary tokens, buy you a cipher. That'll cause spending, because somebody's going to be, I want 4 skies. So that's the big. I talked about the rally. Embers keeps the game defensive shaded. Like right now, it's a little defensive shaded. You get 9 leaders on defense and you only get 6 on attack, right?
Yeah.
For overall gameplay, they might want to think about either letting us send more of the leaders or increasing march size, something to benefit players that are a 2 or a 3 build player. Because let's be real, you've been playing this game for so long, you're a 2 or 3 build player right now. And if you're not a 2 or 3 build player, then you're in a little alliance and you're not willing to adapt, which is fine. Okay, got it. You don't want to adapt, play your game. They got to be able to have a little bit of teeth. Because if you're not, you're just a speed bump for me. I'm going to hit you with DP. All your troops are going to go to the hospital. 25K of mine are going to go to the hospital. I'm going to keep rolling down the road.
Yeah.
Right? So they've got to be able to add some teeth to it. So maybe let more leaders hit, which in turn the littles can fight back a little bit, but the bigs will get the advantage too. But they got to be able to let us help the little alliances. Ops isn't it at all, because the ops is on a kick of one ops is a great leader that everybody wants, and the next ops, it was 2 leaders that they've been out for 2 years that nobody wants. So it's just, people need to think about how to help the littles. I talked to some players who said increase the alliance cap. You know what I mean? Maybe make it 150, or maybe add alliance research. Hey, if you're part of this alliance and they've done the research, because it takes res and it takes time, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just something they got to do to add the ability to be a team again instead of individual players. Because when you hit as individuals, it's my 3 million to 5 million troops hitting your city. It's Be Nice's 3 to 5 million troops hitting that city. It's the Magic Mike hitting that city. It's Rhyme hitting that city. It's Bilbo. It's Guns. It's Red Rider. It's Dirt. It's Tripping. You know what I mean? It's Sammy from STD. They're all individual cities. Beaver from AMOD. It's not a combined hit. It's always one player versus all those troops. It's not a fair ratio. So they got to figure that out. And that's a big thing. But the big thing they need to do, legitimately the big thing they need to do, is get rid of the port thing. It's stupid. And remove the extra, what do you want to call it? Fanciness? I don't know. I call it the extra stupidity, but whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Like the extra animation. I don't. It's extra lag on city, right? That you don't need. They should they should actually listen to players when they send feedback. Mm-hmm. Like they customer service don't respond ever. I'm on like messages from November and they ain't responded yet. They don't respond. They act like they don't care. They've got they just read it and don't do anything with it. They need to listen to feedback. Some of these players in this game and this alliance are smart and do a lot of things for the game. The player Rhyme in my alliance makes the IC spreadsheets for the regions, like for all the regions. Like it's a total number of who hits the most ICs from Monday to Monday, our count. Mm-hmm. Even though some Rise players don't believe it, but whatever. Stuff like that takes time. It takes effort. Like Ember could do that. Ember could literally do a weekly IC board across region. Ember could literally do stuff like that. But they're not. They want to make another leader that somebody's going to want to buy, and then it's just like, dude, stop with the leaders. Fix the game. Remove the weather. Fix the lag. Stuff we've been telling you about for years that you just shoot, but they're the game developers, so they know better than us, but they don't play the game. They play the game on a pristine system on a server that doesn't have anything to do. The way the game works now is it used to be all on your phone. You know that, right? Like the game used to all be on your phone. Ember found out people were hacking. The website that could let name changes showed up, stuff like that. They moved it all to their servers, right? So literally, I hit the button on my phone. It goes to a queue system server and then goes to the server that I'm on to do it. There's a lag. It's natural lag there. That's not, you know what I mean? It's natural phone to server to Cat5, Cat6 Ethernet cable to the other server. There's lag there. So they need to think about maybe shuttling some of the mundane data that the hackers can't use. You know what I mean? Yeah. Back onto the phones to speed up the process.
It still takes about good 30-40 seconds to open the game, and that's a lot of time, life or death for some of the players where they get zero in that time.
Oh yeah, it is literally with notifications on. Yeah, it's going to take 30 to 40, sometimes 2 to 3 minutes. And so they got to work on that, like because you can get zero real quick.
Yeah. And the packs, do you think they made any changes? I know after our first discussion, they did make some change on the resource price and stuff, but I don't think that has moved any further than that, right?
No, it hasn't changed. What they're doing now is they're selling leaders. And you go to them for selling leaders, forcing spenders to spend, which is the name of the game for them, right? Make spenders spend, right?
Yep.
But it's a cause and effect. You can't get spenders to spend unless they want something. You have to give them the drive to want something. They have to want it. The overall game and the overall gameplay prevents spenders from really spending like that because they're not taking the time. If they go to the office every day and they go to their cool little office and they do whatever work that they're doing, I don't know what they're doing, right? It's not going to take long to remove stuff that needs to get to streamline the program. You know what I mean? To make it faster.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff, I'm sure it's like 3 clicks of a button because the weather showed up out of nowhere. We never had weather before in R1 and R15. It showed up to the tail end. Like, I don't need that. Taking the advanced speed ups out of the packs that do the animation and just putting them into our amount of advanced speed ups we have shouldn't take that much because when I buy a pack, the speed ups in that pack go right into where they're supposed to be at. They got options. I mean, they're selling better leaders. They're selling them cheaper because they're trying to get all the players encompassed. But I'm going to use an alliance like Rampage, right? Little alliance. They're not really big. They've grown a lot, you know what I mean, from where they've come to where they're going, right? But you're not going to convince a player in Rampage to buy a leader when that leader is going to get replaced in 2 weeks by another leader when the overall gameplay in itself doesn't give that player that buys that leader an advantage to use. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, I haven't been playing again for long. So do you think still there's life left in this game? People are still playing, or slowly it's kind of bleeding in terms of active users?
The game is the game. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down.
Yeah.
What makes the game is the people you play against.
Yeah.
The natural animosity, the natural admiration, the love-hate relationships. I don't like Dorf. That's a big thing. People don't like Dorf. Okay, I'm gonna make 1,000 memes of Dorf. Cough, cough, rise. I'm gonna make troll accounts to annoy Dorf. And then on the flip side for Rise is like, oh, everybody hates us there. That's got to be Dorf. It's really not. But it's the animosity that keeps that player from doing, I'm done, I'm walking. You know what I mean? Because I thought about walking. I'm not going to lie. I thought about just throwing my stuff in the limbo or porting it over to 31 and just leaving humans on and logging in once every 2 days to charge humans up and just letting them whittle me down because the game is the game. I've won my game. I've won Region 15. I won Region 1. Probably one of the most well-known players in the game. I'm definitely one of the most hated players in the game. Mm-hmm. But I still play because I have an alliance. I still have an alliance that a lot of members don't like Rise. I still have Rise to deal with because it's Rise, and they think they're the best thing in the world since sliced bread. I still have allies in STD, and I still have allies in AMOD. My allies in Rogue Warriors and Sick. Blitzkrieg was an ally, but they went, and did Blitzkrieg things. SLC is still my ally. Like you have interaction with these players, and you're talking and you're dealing with them every day. And then some player does something stupid, and you're just like, "Well, I didn't see that one coming before. I've never heard that excuse before, but I'm going to go with it." Mm-hmm. It's the player interaction. So no, the game's not quitting, like bleeding, like people think it is. It's players are just getting tired. Yeah. They're getting tired of going to hit somebody, and they hit this dude. And by all mathematics of anything you look at, this dude should get crushed. But due to Ember math, you bounce off him, and you're just like, that makes no sense. I'm logging off for the day. I'm not dealing with this one. Yep. Or you're a little, and you just get steamrolled, but because your alliance has no way of truly fighting back, then you just get steamrolled. So I'm not logging in today. What Ember should strive for, legitimately, what Ember should strive for is they should strive for the alliances like STD, like Road Warriors, like Sick, like Legion is now, like Rise used to be, like how HH is now. And this isn't me throwing darts or shade or anything like that. Rise used to be number one in ICs. They're not anymore. The players have enough speeds, and they have not enough res. One of the others is they need res. Okay, so sell better res packs. Or they need the leader. Or, wow, I blew a lot of speed up spot getting this leader in this event. Now there's another leader I want. Or there's another mega city I want. I'm going to have to buy a pack. Let me buy this pack. Well, wow, this pack actually has stuff I can use. Not my 175 million... I think I have some number the boost for farming. I think it's in like hundreds of thousands. It's like it's stupid. Like I don't need it. I honestly don't need that boost anymore because I'll be dead by the time it expires. Like I'll literally be dead.
Yep.
So, but they put it in the packs and they sell it in the packs, and it's like, bro, I don't need this. That's right. I have 2,850 weeks of long distance trucking. I will be dead by then. Like, just dead. So they just need to make it so, like, oh, wow. They need to stop and look at the game and be like, oh, wow, STV players buy packs when the leaders they want, or they're burning a lot of speed up building power. Let me copy that. Same with Road War, same for Legion, same with Rise, HH, and Rise Main still does too. I'm not going to argue with that back, and so does Sick, like the top tier alliances, you know what I mean? They need to entice us. It used to be Ops, but Ops is just, now. It's Ops bacon a half. So they need to come up with ways to make the game more for a player to have a little bit of a fear factor. Yep. For a player to be a little bit afraid. The more they're afraid, the more they're going to play. The more they're going to play, the more they're going to buy a pack. It's nature. A spender is going to spend. A non-spender will think about spending, and until they see a reason to spend, then They're not until they fix some of the issues. The non-spenders won't spend. There's no point. I can zero. There are 400 or 500 mil accounts out that try to do whatever they're doing. They're going to be at cap. I'm going to do DP on them. And what's the difference? I got billions of res.
Yep.
They don't. So that's just all it is. The players will come back if they change. If they fix the lag, the populations would increase probably by 15% in each region, and activity would spike.
That's a big number, right? I mean, that's going to give Ember another 5 to 7% of their profits for sure.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, well, the reason being is you have players in limbo. You have a lot of players in perma bubbles. You have a lot of players just not going to play the game like they used to. Like, I got a major that will not spend anymore just because he spent them to earn a leader. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He bought $100 pack to earn a leader in an ops. And then a month later, it was $5. It's not going to happen. They've got to come up with a balance. You know what I mean? Make $100 or whatever it is in Aussie land. I think it's like 200 and something. Make $100 packs worthwhile. Remove the stuff we don't want. Remove the stuff we do want. I mean, keep the stuff we do want. Don't make it just mundane. It's everybody gets the same pack. No, if I'm buying a $100 pack, it better be better than the $50 pack, and it really better be better than the $20 pack and the $5 pack. Don't just give me it's a gold leader than purple. That doesn't mean anything to me.
Yep.
I got advanced speeds. I can just speed it up. But yeah, that's all they got to do, man. The lag, I'm telling you, they fixed the lag. The amount of players that would come back just because of lag issues. They need to stop trying to hunt down everybody with alts and farms and allegedly selling res and allegedly doing something that's illegal and alleged because they get PMs every day that somebody's doing something illegal. They need to stop doing that.
Yep.
They need to focus on making their money. If they have a better product beats anything and everything. You know what I mean?
Good. So any other topics that you wanted to cover? So I think we kind of covered about the game changes that you would like or all other players would like to see. Any other special topics that you want to cover?
Sure, yeah. So I'm at war with Rise, right?
Yep.
Basically all 31, right? Rise's MO is they poach players from other alliances. They sell them on these pipe dreams, as I like to call them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they get their little their barking pieces, right? Bark, 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 and they really don't do anything. They zero players with bad leaders. They don't zero people through leaders. Like, they just do not do that. They will not do that. They convinced HH to move to 30, which is comical. It's truly comical that they convinced the better Rise Alliance, because HH was the better Rise Alliance in ICs, events, and ops, to move to 30 to free up leaders for Rise Main, because Rise Main couldn't compete. The majority of original Rise Main majors and officers have quit the game.
Yep.
Like, the original Rise Alliance isn't there anymore. Scott and maybe Snake are the last remaining ones. So the game's changing. Rise doesn't understand that. That they think Rise will dominate the whole regions. It's not going to work that way. They like to just what is your play on taking 30? Like, what is your plan? You're leaving HH out there to dry, basically. You know. If Ember makes changes like that, the game's gonna flip. The game will literally flip. And there's some players in Rise I really just do not like. I'm not gonna use the word hate because I don't hate people. I really just don't like them, right? A lot of Rise players probably hate me. They do like making memes about me, that's for sure. But the game as itself is the game as itself. If you don't zero that player's still here.
Yeah.
I'm still here. You know what I mean? Legion's still here. STD's still here. AMOD's still here. Road Warriors, SLC, all the Road Warrior wings are still here. Rise if Rise wants to achieve easy domination, they have to zero players like me. They're going to have to zero Tommy Guns, Looney. They're going to have to zero Dog, Koi, Snake, Zero, and Sick. They're going to have to zero Sammy, being ticked, Val, Jonathan, Dolgan, STD. They're going to have to get rid of Beaver. They're going to have to get rid of Tabby. They're going to have to get rid of Boots. But Rise can't do that. Rise doesn't even have a chance of doing that, to be honest with you, because the game's not set up for that. Like, I'm 68 Bill. We did the math on my account. It would take over 3,000 pure Panzer marches not running death protection at 4 million a clip to put me down.
Yep.
That's just an astronomical number. So, then the reason I'm saying all this is that the game changes. Enemies become friends, friends become enemies. They don't understand that, and so they shuttled HH out, which is hilarious. Like, fighting sick in their own region isn't going to be pretty. And I know players from HH, and they think it's going to be a cakewalk, and it's just not. So, why do I bring it up, right?
Yep.
Is Ember needs to capitalize on this. Ember truly, honestly needs to capitalize. There's a major in-region war for the first time in the game in a long time, since the last sick STD war, actually. There's a major in-region war. They need to sell packs that people want. They need to sell the res that the res leaders people want. They need to do the events and give the leaders for total advanced war. Just, you know what I mean?
Yep.
War brings, believe it or not, war brings life to Empire Z. It makes no sense. It's backwards, but that's what happens. Like, if they stopped and they thought they made it so that ports could open on the weekend, or even the event that you said, like, you're not going to get 0, but you're fighting the other players, or just made it so that the actual fighting part of the game was easier to actually use.
Yep.
Right? There would be more wars. There would be more fighting. There would be more hits. There would be. It's just the way it is. But people, I go to 31, I'm going to get lagged out. Somebody comes to 29, they're going to get lagged out. It's just what happens.
Great. So it was definitely good catching up with you after a long time.
Yeah.
We'll try to do that this again in the future. Good luck to you and your team, and hope we can catch up soon again.
We will, man. Just we'll set it up, and you should come back.
Yeah.
The game's different now, man. Like it changes, but I'm telling you should come back. I know Doc would love to have you back.